2, and we're live. New York Muscle Radio. Let's give everyone a second here to try and join our Facebook Live here. And edit this. What's up, man?
We got a lot of moving parts on today's episode, man. We got Facebook Live going on. I have Instagram Live on my phone. So I'm going to try and keep this up. But so we'll get comments on both ends, Facebook and Instagram Live today.
I'm just writing the notes here. And then we will get started. Okay. So for anyone who's joining us on the live feed right now, please share this. That always helps us get the good word out there. And good evening, everybody. Back to the night podcast. Kyle says, "Don't be live now. I've been waiting all week for your live feed, and I'm at court." Sorry, Kyle. You're at court. How are you doing at court at 10 o'clock at night? He must be in another state. All right. You ready to get rolling, big guy?
Let's do it.
Oh, let me just save this before I lose it. 3. But guys, make sure you hit that share button on Facebook. Hit the like, whatever you got to do on Facebook to get this out there to all the peeps. All right, man. I'm ready to go. You good?
Yep, let's do it.
What's up, guys? New York Muscle Radio, episode number 193, Macro Hacks. How to hit your macros every time. So in today's episode, we're going to break down the exact strategies and scenarios for hitting your macro goals dead on, regardless of the situation or random daily variables. If you're a new listener, welcome to the best muscle building, fat burning, get strong podcast on the planet. And since you're a new listener, you got to make sure you hit that subscribe button right away so you don't miss a beat. And get your free 12-week training program, NewYorkMuscleRadio.com/getjacked, JAKKED, free 12-week training program. It's your host, Anthony Bevilacqua, alongside my co-host, Big Peter Khatcherian. Big guy, what's up, man?
We're here again for more hacks. This time we're doing macro hacks, and I think people are starting to like the hacks series because it's a lot of practical application that most people don't talk about. Yeah. So, we can get into the science aspect of everything, but we could also tell you guys the practical ways to make this all work. And I think people need more of the practical stuff, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so right now we're live on Facebook. For those of you who are listening to this after the fact, we're live on Facebook and we're live on Instagram. Are we still live on Instagram?
We are still live. We're live on my Instagram. So anybody who
why'd you go on yours, you piece of crap?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. We are live. No, you're right, actually. I am live on New York Muscle Radio Instagram. So anybody who wants to catch us on Instagram, we are live on Instagram on New York Muscle Radio. And we have a few people chatting on Instagram. So people watching this on Facebook, unfortunately, you can't see what's going on Instagram. But any questions we get from both, we'll pull into this live podcast today.
Yeah, man. So what are they saying on Instagram? I can't see them either.
People are asking me. I'm getting questions actually about my bodybuilding competitions. They wanted to know because they
wanted to know if you like looking at the guys in the Speedos.
Yeah, they wanted to know if I was still doing that. But they were asking questions about the competitions I was in, and they were talking about when I used to compete. It's funny. People still remember, when I used to compete. When I competed with Sadiq way before he was what does he get, like 2 million followers on Instagram now, and running for Mr. Olympia and classic bodybuilding and all that stuff. So people remember. We always talk about this. People remember the little things we say in this podcast, man.
Yep, that is the truth. So I want to first start off by welcoming our sponsor, StateandLiberty.com. They do fitness apparel. These guys are top quality stuff, man. And I don't know if anybody saw that video that we put out. They sent us some polo shirts, and those polos were unbelievable. So if you guys want to check them out, StateandLiberty.com. Use that coupon code NYMR, and you get free shipping and a free mixer bottle as well. But yeah, I love that polo. You actually wore that polo when you went to what did you have that you wore? Did you wear it to the powerlifting event this weekend? No, right? Where did you wear it?
Nah, I wore that just to look good, man.
Oh yeah, with your khakis. You were like Jake from State Farm.
Khakis, man. Yeah, they sent us some awesome polos actually, and I have trouble with dress shirts and polos in general because it's the same thing with both of them. I have a very long torso and I have a very narrow waist, and I have big arms and wide shoulders. So you're going to fit in between large and extra large with my structure, depending on the cut. And normally large is way too short on me because of my long torso. So it looks like, you know, it looks like I'm wearing a shirt that's shrunk, or I'm wearing my younger brother's shirt or something. And then when I go to extra large, a lot of times it fits everything, the length, the arms, everything. But then the stomach is like, I could fit two of me inside the stomach, so it's too baggy. So they have awesome cuts for their dress shirts and their polos. I have a nice long but still fitted shirt, so it's perfect for my structure, you know. So I'm really happy they sent those to us. They're great quality too.
Yeah, one of the things I like with them is that they have that it's like a stretchy material, but it's so like high quality, and it feels good on your skin too, and it doesn't leave like those sweat stains either. I know you need that.
Oh yeah, man, you gotta make
Sweaty
sure.
Khatcherian.
There's a few things about, you know, fashion and style that you got to make sure that your clothing helps you with. It's got to make you look good. It's got to make you feel good. And it's got to prevent any of those sweat stains or any of the body odor, any of just the nasty stuff, man. You got to keep you clean and keep you feeling good and fresh, all combined.
So Jose says on Facebook, he says top page on iTunes. And what he's referring to was New York Muscle Radio, for those who don't know, actually hit top 40 in the health and fitness category in iTunes. And we were actually featured on the home screen. So how you guys can help us hit the top is hitting that subscribe button. For whatever reason, when we back, you know, a couple months ago, when we were getting so many downloads, we crashed our server. When we re-uploaded everything back to the site, it unsubscribed a lot of people. So by unsubscribing a lot of people, we lost so many downloads. So that's why we were having trouble getting back into that area. But I just told everyone to resubscribe, and they've been resubscribing, and we just hit that top 40 and featured on the homepage on iTunes. That was a great day. So you guys, if you haven't already, just check your feed and make sure that you're subscribed. It doesn't matter on what, you know, I say iTunes, but I'm sure it goes the same for Android and whatnot. Because we've gotten messages, people saying we haven't got a new podcast from you guys in so long, and I think it's because a lot of the podcast feeds unsubscribed us when we went down. So make sure you resubscribe if you haven't already. And again, like I said, if you're a new listener, make sure you subscribe, because that's how you're not going to miss any of the fun action here at New York Muscle Radio, right, big guy?
Yeah, man. Unfortunately, we had that momentum going. We were going strong, and then whatever happened,
it was crazy.
Whatever happened, it gave us a huge setback. But it looks like in a matter of like 24 hours, we were able to recover from that. But we gave it a good like 4 or 5, even 6 months maybe, where we were behind just because of that little slip up. But like I said, in 24 hours, from the help of you guys listening, we were able to just kind of reverse all that and get right back to where we were. So it was awesome, and we appreciate all you guys helping us out, because without you, we couldn't get there.
So someone says your competition was exactly 2 years ago today, Pete, I guess.
Yes, it's actually been exactly 2 years today since the last time I was on stage. I don't even really consider that last show I did a true competition. I kind of walked into that one, to be honest with you. So it was something that I did regardless of hitting the stage. You know, I was just trying to look good for summer, and decided to jump in 2 days. I think it was 2 days before the show. That was the last time I did a competition. Before that, you know, my shows were all competitive. I actually wanted to go in, win, take it as far as I can go. This one was just pretty much jumping in. But yeah, it was 2 years since I've been on the stage, and to be honest with you, I don't miss it. I don't miss it one bit.
Yeah, the stage, you mean? I was distracted, man.
Yeah, I know. Well, so you guys, if you guys can't see what Anthony was doing, if you guys caught him on Facebook, he had his phone up. So when he had his phone up underneath the camera, he was, joining in on Instagram Live, and he was, I'm not exactly sure what he wrote, but he was.
Oh, you can't see it? It's gone already?
I see it, but I didn't bother reading it. I just see he's trolling on Instagram Live. If you guys, if you guys have been around long enough, you know about trolling.
Read what I wrote.
This, hey, Pete, can you show us how you shave your body with a straight razor?
So there's a story behind that. So basically, we've gotten so many messages since that episode, and people are obsessed with the fact that Pete has used a straight razor on his entire body, and it just became a running joke with us. So we've just been kind of going back and forth with the straight razor thing. Yeah,
that and the soy thing. And if you look in the chat, actually, the soy thing came up also. So, yeah, man, those are my two things, apparently. People know me for soy or no soy and straight razor shaving. So you know what? If that's my thing, then that's my thing. I can't control that.
Yeah. So also this weekend we sponsored the USAPL Mid-Atlantic Regionals. So it's cool to actually go to a show and not compete and just kind of watch what happens and have people come up to us and try the products and stuff. Caffeine was a huge hit, man. I know caffeine's a great product, but I'm surprised at the impact that it had. As soon as I was explaining to people that it's actual real coffee and it's not a flavored, protein powder, it's real coffee, it's instant, and we were giving out samples to people, and people were blown away at the taste. I can't believe how much of an impact it has. I'm used to explaining it to people via the podcast or Facebook or whatnot, video or whatnot, but actually seeing their reaction in person I should have videoed them. I just thought of that now. I should have videoed people's reaction.
Yeah, you know what was interesting about that too? If you notice, a lot of people people who go to powerlifting meets probably realize this, but if you're not familiar with it, a lot of times people in the audience, it's family members, not necessarily involved in the industry and the sport or anything like that, and they're just going to support. So you have a lot of average people. So a lot of average people are always looking for little ways to make their diet or their lifestyle a little more healthy. And, almost everybody's a constant coffee drinker. So when you tell the average person, look, I have protein coffee here. It's real coffee with extra protein in there. They're going to say, let me try that. And that's exactly what happened. We had so many people say, oh, it's real coffee. Let me taste it. And they didn't taste the protein and like, wow, it just tastes like straight coffee. So I think that's why it was a hit there. We had a lot of people.
I don't know if you were there because you kept getting up and leaving me at the table. But
yeah. I was getting up and getting
this
Anthony.
He was hungry every 5 minutes. Oh, I'm going to go get lunch.
I got up, I brought Anthony lunch. But yes, I got up and I left him at the table. I got up and I left him. And tell people how far I walked to get you a bagel.
Well, I didn't know until after the fact, but this kid was gone for like an hour going to get bagels. But it was funny. I don't know. You want to think you were there for that. When the girl, I let her try the caffeine, and she said to me, this is just coffee. There's no protein in it. I don't believe you. She didn't believe me. She refused to believe me. I'm like, no, I'm telling you, there's protein in there. I almost had to pull up the the lab results to show her, look, there's protein.
Yeah. You would never know. You would never know.
Really wouldn't. That's why coffee's so good.
To be honest, I can see why some people would be skeptical about it because there's so many brands that do lie about what they put in the label, and then when you have something that literally just tastes like coffee, I can understand the skepticism. You know what I mean? It's like there's nothing in there that resembles protein, but that's the idea.
Yeah.
So he can't argue with that, I guess.
But the event itself was really, really cool. I mean, it was cool to watch, like I said, other lifters. We watched someone bench 500 pounds raw. No gear on or anything. That was really inspiring to see. We watched an 80-year-old and an 83-year-old battle it out, and the 83-year-old squatted 340 or 350, which was awesome to see. And I just think it's so funny how you have some 83-year-olds who compete, and then you have other 83-year-olds who are on their deathbed. So it just goes to show you that if you live a life of fitness, you're going to end up, better off in the long term. So I just knock wood. I mean, I want that to be me. I want to be that guy, 83 years old, setting the state record like these guys were doing. It was insane. It was totally inspirational. I actually took a picture with one of them, so that was cool. I think he was really excited that I asked him to take a picture.
Yeah, it just goes to show you. I mean, age is going to get to all of us, but how you choose to live at that age it's up to you. So you can let life happen to you, or you can take the proactive approach to it and stay in shape. I mean, you don't have to be a power lifter. You don't have to be a competitor, but you know what? Like you said, guys in their 80s they were competing, they were lifting. If you're able to do that, then it just goes to show you that you're not the average 80-year-old who just, says, you know what, screw it, I'm getting old. I'm just going to, just going to get weak and then eventually die, It
was funny. One of the things you said was that, a lot at these events, it's all family that goes. And there was one guy who was talking to me, nice guy too, didn't work out at all. He was really out of shape. And he had to be in his 50s, 60s. And just as we were talking, the 80-year-old actually was up to bat. So he was at the platform and he was, I think he was squatting, whatever. And the out of shape guy turns and then looks back to me and says, oh, man, he's crazy. He's going to have a stroke or something. But this guy was so overweight. I'm like, I think you have a better chance of having a stroke right now than him.
Yeah, it's true.
So it just goes to show you. Everybody's quick to look at someone and say, and judge he shouldn't be doing that. But in reality, the older you get, the more you need to lift, the more important it becomes.
Yeah. I mean, any way you're active when you get that old is going to be way better than not being active. That's for sure. There's no question.
Yeah. So also we were giving away we were giving away the first 4 weeks of the Strong program. So if you guys want to take advantage of that, I'm going to put the link on the screen here. You guys can take advantage of that while it's still available. Of course, we're going to give it to all of our New York Muscle Radio listeners. You guys can head on over to newyorkmuscleradio.com/strong, and you can get the first 4 weeks of the Strong program and get a taste of what it means to be strong. I'm a little distracted here by this next comment. So some ugly guy named Joe Streamer. Is the comment up on the screen? No, I can't see.
Yeah, he says, does being ugly affect your lifts? And you know what's good about being ugly is that you still can be strong. So, you can be ugly, but you could still be strong. You don't have to be ugly and weak. So that's a good part about being ugly, right?
Yeah, and usually if you're ugly, then if you're strong, people look at you more, huh?
Yeah, listen, man, you can't have it all, but you can be strong even if you're ugly.
Yeah, exactly. And someone responded to him and said, Joe, you should know best. People are talking shit to each other in the chat here. All right, so now that we got all that out of the way, let's get rolling with today's episode, man. So hacks, the macro hacks. And this was your idea for a podcast. So why don't you take it away here and give us a whirl and introduce the topic?
Yeah, I think that most people struggle with hitting their daily macros simply because they don't have a strategy, and as me and with anything you do, if you want to be better at it, you got to have a strategy. You have to have a system in place, and then when you have that strategy or that system, you don't have to think about it. You just execute. And a lot of times people hear that, okay, if you're going to do flexible dieting, you can fit your calories, your macros in however you like. So they kind of just go about their day. Let's say that they sign up for coaching, and we give them a customized macro plan. And we say, okay, you have to eat this amount of protein, this amount of carbs, this amount of fat, right? And they start going about their day. And then because life happens, different things come up, different social situations, sometimes they get held up in certain locations or whatever it may be. It prevents them from sticking to the original plan that they may have had, which was, okay, I'm going to eat 3 meals a day, 4 meals a day, space it out evenly, whatever it is. And they don't have a strategy. They don't have anything lined up in case they have to adjust. So they have to be flexible. So they have to have some type of structure that, okay, if this happens, I can come up with a different way to hit it for the rest of the day. Or if this happens, I'll change this around. And most people don't have that. So like we talk about with meal plans, what happens if they don't have their food? They can't hit the meal plan. And it's the same thing with hitting your macros. If one strategy happens or one thing happens that was out of what they originally had planned, they can't hit it. So you got to have a couple hacks that will make it much easier to hit your macros regardless of the situation. If you follow the hacks that we're going to give today and you loosely use them based on whatever the situation is, you'll be able to hit your macros no matter what. And I think a lot of people will take a lot of valuable information out of this one. So you guys got to make sure you listen closely if you have trouble hitting your macros for the day.
All right, let's get rolling then. So the first hack, I like that word, hack. The first hack is going to be the obvious one. I mean, this is the one that we've preached upon several thousand times before. But planning your day out, packing your food, doing your MyFitnessPal beforehand, these are all common sense things that just people sometimes overlook. You have to plan out your day. Planning for success, as the saying goes. You're never going to be, your body's not going to lose weight because you're thinking about losing weight. You're going to have to, or whatever, gaining muscle, losing fat, gaining strength. You have to plan for it. So planning out your day. So if you have 250 grams of protein and you want to have 6 meals a day, then dividing that evenly between the 6 meals, that would leave you with around 40 grams of protein a meal. So give or take, but that's how you plan your day out. So now you got to execute on that. Make enough chicken, make enough beef, make enough whatever in order to hit your protein. Then plan around your carbs after that. I mean, when we went to the powerlifting meet, for example, when we sponsored the event and we had the table, I packed 100 grams of protein to bring with me, and I kind of did some of the other tricks too, and I'll explain it when we get to it. But all I packed for the day was really 2 big meals. They each had 50 grams of protein in them, and I packed my day's worth of vegetables in those 2 meals. So I basically had 2 low-carb meals. And again, I'll go over why I did it like that in a second because I don't want to spoil ahead. But again, planning it out and then putting it in your MyFitnessPal or whatever you use to track, paper and pen beforehand, planning out the day that way. And that's what it's going to lead you to success, because then you have no excuse then on, I forgot about this or I forgot about that. It's already played. It's done.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, most people that fail with this have an excuse. And if you eliminate all these excuses, then you have no other choice but to actually execute it successfully. And yeah, for people who first start out, I would say it's pretty much a requirement. If you don't know how to do this, if you haven't done it yet, you're not used to it, it would be a requirement to plan ahead to hit your macros. Me and Anthony have been doing this so long now where, we could basically wing it every single day and we'll still be on top of it. We could hit it 100% while winging it every single time, but that only comes from experience, and that comes from practicing all the strategies that we're going to get into. But if you don't know how to do this and you haven't done it for a long period of time where you can do it like second nature, then you have to plan ahead. That's going to give you the tools and that's going to give you the experience to adjust along the way. So definitely plan ahead if you're not used to this yet. You can go as far as planning the whole day ahead, like Anthony said. So you could even plug everything into MyFitnessPal, what you're going to eat tomorrow, then follow it. You could even do it for a couple of days, or you could do it for half the day. Let's say that you work and you know you're going to be available after work from, when you get out of 5 o'clock or whatever time it is till the end of the day, and you want to leave that window open, but plan your time from the morning to when you get out of work. As far as meals, you could do that as well, but there has to be a plan in place if you don't know how to do this, if you haven't done it successfully for a long period of time.
Yeah, I agree. One of the things, the last episode 192, when we were talking about that, that really episode was kind of like, for me, that's like kind of an epiphany for me when I realized that I really got to place my protein on priority or I'm not going to hit it, So for me, that protein hack episode was the one that really, I kind of realized this a couple months ago, and I'm like, okay, I just got to plan on my protein and everything else will follow suit. That's why we did that episode, because doing that will definitely help hitting your rest of your macros. Because once you hit your protein, it's easy to hit the rest.
Yeah, most people don't struggle with hitting their carbs or hitting their fat. I mean, unless you're in extended bulk. And like I've said this before too, sometimes I even have trouble hitting my carbs for the day when my bulk is all out excessive, just because it becomes work after a certain point. But most people, if they have trouble hitting any one particular macro, it's going to be protein, and then for women specifically, that seems to be tough. But, we know plenty of women who love protein. So it all depends on the individual. But yeah, if you hit your protein, then you're not going to struggle as much to get the carbs and fats in. Yeah,
that's the easy part. So someone on Instagram wrote, will New York Muscle Radio make a belt for weighted dips and pull-ups? We actually talked about that. I just don't think it's a unique product. We'd like to put a little spin on things, and I don't think we could do anything unique with that. That would just be another product add to the list and something else that I'd have to store. So probably not.
Yeah, it's not one of our top ideas here, but if there's a demand for it, we'll put it out there. But dips and chins, to be totally honest, I mean we're always pretty honest about this stuff. If there's a product that'll actually help you do it better, we'll tell you about it. But dips and chins, I really think that a standard dip and chin belt has all that's covered. I really don't see how you can make it much better than that.
Yeah,
I like doing pull-ups sometimes. With chains, actually. For dips, it doesn't really seem to make much of a difference, but there is a little bit of a different aspect to using chains, but you're limited with weight with chains. If you could do dips with 135 pounds, you're not going to have chain. If you're going to have 135 pounds worth of chains over your shoulders, they're going to be so big that it'll actually prevent you from doing pull-ups correctly. So there's that issue as well. And I think the best case is to use an actual dip belt or a pull-up belt to do them. I haven't found a better strategy.
Yeah, well, I agree, but that answers that question pretty much. All right, let's move on to the macro hacks again. So the second hack is the macro hoarder. So again, this is basically what I said before, protein mostly throughout the day and then save fat and carbs for the big meal. So I knew, going back to this weekend, and I spoke to Peter about this before, I said, listen, man, we got to find a sushi place out there and go for sushi after this. And he agreed. Pete's like, yeah, definitely, we got to find an all-you-can-eat sushi place. So that's why I said, okay, I know when I go for sushi, one of the hardest things I always have after I go for sushi is not getting in enough protein, because sushi is mostly carbs and fat. So I said, I'm just going to bring 100 grams of protein and just bring vegetables. This way the sushi will be my carbs and my fat for the day, and I don't have to worry about it. I ended up eating some other stuff. Like I said, Pete went and got a bagel and all that other stuff. But that definitely helped fill the holes in for me. But that's exactly what a macro hoarder does. Make sure you get your protein in. If you know you have an event, let's say it's a wedding. I don't know. I just do a wedding out there. But let's just say it's a wedding. You're going to make sure you're not going to have pancakes for breakfast unless you're bulking. If you're dieting, you want to make sure that you have mostly your protein. So maybe for breakfast, just egg whites. For right before the wedding, have a protein shake. And then at the wedding, use most of your carbs and fat for that. You know, this way you can have a slice of the wedding cake or whatever else has you. You know, let's say you have a birthday party or, you know, whatever, some type of event. That's exactly what you would do. Put your protein first, have a low carb breakfast, you know, and then just save all that for the end.
Yeah, and this is a situation.
This is good on a holiday too, actually.
Yes. This is a situation that comes up probably. This is the most common scenario where people have trouble hitting their macros. And really, if you create that buffer throughout the day, depending how big, you know, how many calories you consume and how big that buffer is, sometimes it's almost impossible for you to overeat when you go out to these places. So someone says like, oh, I'm going to a birthday or something, and I don't know what they're going to have. It's like a buffet or whatever it is, right? It's going to be hard to track. Let's say you get 2,500 calories for the day, and then you just eat protein throughout the day. Maybe you only had 500 grams of 500 grams of calories from protein, and you have 2,000 calories to work with. You know, if you don't go ape shit, you're probably not going to go over 2,000 calories in that meal. So you're basically creating a buffer so that when you get there, you could eat what you want, but you're not going to go over your calories. Now, if you ate what you wanted throughout the day, and then you went to dinner and ate whatever you wanted, you might have already accumulated 2,000 calories. Now you might dump another 2,000 calories and you're going to go over, way over. So when you create that buffer, you leave room for that meal. So it's one of the pros and, you know, what people say is so great about intermittent fasting because they have a small window to consume all the calories, but you don't have to not eat to fit your calories in for the day. You just got to create a bit of a buffer and eat less during the day. So you can use that strategy to hit your macros without having to go fasted or anything like that. You could eat your protein, or if you want to eat a little carbs and fats, you can, but you got to keep them low just so you have left over for the actual meal that you want to go eat.
Yeah, for example, if you're dieting and your calories are just low and whatnot, and you have pancakes for breakfast, you know, there's not a lot of protein in there. And even if you make a protein one, it's going to have a decent amount. But you're going to have mostly carbs from that meal. So then if you have mostly carbs for breakfast, then you have another snack with carbs in it, how much carbs are you going to have left for the rest of the day? You know, this works wonders around a holiday. You know, especially like Thanksgiving, especially. You know, I usually, if it's just Thanksgiving, I just have like 50 grams of protein for breakfast, and then I just kind of try to wing the rest of the day after that. And then I just do damage control after that. As far as protein goes, I'll just have like a shake after everything, maybe a shake before bed, and that's it.
Yeah, that's the strategy that I use for every holiday. And I think most people who do practice flexible dieting, who do know how to wing it, they'll intuitively do it at this point. Like, I don't really think about it. I don't say, okay, it's a holiday, then I structure it out. I just go about my day, eat as little as possible. Then I have a much more calories saved up for that meal, for the holiday meal. And it makes it that much easier, because if you want to eat more food in that meal than you normally eat in a typical meal, then you can, because your macros are still going to be in line for what your goals are for the day.
Mm-hmm. All right, so the next macro hack, is finishing your macros early and not worrying about them for the night. Do you want to elaborate on that, big guy, since you're the one that wrote these?
This is a strategy that you can use. It's just as good as a tool as the last strategy that we talked about. And this one's probably for a little bit of a different scenario. And some people this will work really well for. Others, it's not going to work that good. But if it works for you, for you, most people that does work for, it works great for them. So that scenario would be, let's say you have some type of social event coming up, or maybe you're going out and you're not sure what type of food is going to be there. You don't know if it's going to be a lot of food, little food, or maybe there's going to be no food, right? But you're planning a night out. So let's say it's a scenario where, after dinner, your friends are going out and you guys are having drinks for the night. You're going to go to a bar, but you don't necessarily drink too much. You're probably not even going to drink, right? You can eat your macros and cap them off at whatever time. Let's say you go out at 9 o'clock. You could say by 8 o'clock today, I'm going to finish all my macros. And now you're going to go out and you might go out from 9, let's say, till 11 or something like that, 12, whatever it is. It could be different for everybody, but you're going to get all your macros in before you even go out, so that at the end of the night, when you go out, you don't have to worry about finding food to hit your actual macros. Mm-hmm. So you just say, okay, I already did what I had to do for the day. The only thing I have to do now is not do anything. You know? Yeah,
I've used that strategy so many times. I thought I was the only one that did it, but it makes it so much easier too. And more than likely, sometimes too, especially if you're tempted, usually you finishing your calories early, you'll be fuller and you'll be less tempted to go for anything else too. Plus, usually what I do at that point too, I'll finish all, and this works just too if you're dieting. It's like a quick tip: finish all your macros early, and then brush your teeth. And that's usually just like you should just not get hungry after that. That brushing your teeth thing works, man. I told people about that years ago on the podcast. I've gotten people message us about that too, but it works. If you're hungry and you're dieting, just brush your teeth. It goes away instantly.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different things you could do, but it is true, especially like you said, if your last meal is pretty large too, because you're capping your calories early when maybe you would have saved some for later in the night. You just combined it all into that one meal. You're going to be fuller, and when you're fuller like that, you're not going to get the hunger pains as soon. So you'll be able to go longer. You might, like I said, if you eat your last meal at 8 o'clock and maybe you go home at 11, 12 o'clock and go to sleep, whatever it's been, 4 hours or so, typically you might eat within every 4-hour window. You might not want to eat, and you might be good, and you might be totally content. So like I said, for some people that do this, it works great. So I definitely recommend you try it if you haven't already. And it works particularly well when you're going out and you don't necessarily know if there's going to be food available or when there will be food or what type of food there is. So you basically play it safe, hit your macros before you even leave. Then all you have to do when you go out is nothing. Yeah. Just don't go over at that point.
Yeah, don't eat anything. It makes it so much simple. It's like intermittent fasting, but backwards.
Right, exactly. You're just changing the fasting window. You're putting it later in the day. You could do that.
So I just got a notification while we're on here, and in our shredded group, our New York Muscle Radio Summer Shred program that we have going on, someone posted up a picture of their dinner, and it looks delicious. So I'll show the people on Facebook. So that's pan-cooked fajitas. That looks freaking good, man, right?
I love fajitas.
Me too, man. I love fajitas, but that looks actually really good. So I asked for the recipe, so hopefully I'll get the recipe before this podcast is over. But it looks really good. It looks like there's I love red onions too. So red onions all in there, different color peppers. So that's definitely a lot of flavor there. So everyone on Facebook can see that. Sorry, people listening on the podcast afterwards, but yeah, that looks freaking delicious. I love fajitas too, man. Would you eat that wrap though? You probably would eat that wrap.
I probably wouldn't, or I would.
You wouldn't.
Why not?
Because that wrap looks like it doesn't look like the ones that you get, the lavish ones. That looks like those
lavish ones, but they're not. They're definitely not ideal for fajitas. I mean, I've made fajitas and used them before, but like if you want a true fajita, then you got to get one like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but you would eat that. Those usually have the soy in them.
Yeah, they do, but what can you do? Sometimes if you look enough, you'll find some without it. Actually,
you got to look though, and then it tastes like crap.
9 out of 10 will have it, but if you look, you'll find the right one.
I'd rather just get the lavish bread. The lavish bread is good.
Yeah, lavish bread is great.
The lavish bread is good. It has 10 grams of protein in it. I think it has 10 grams, around 10, and then it has like a lot of fiber in it. I believe it has like 10 too.
Yeah, it's got a lot of fiber. It's got protein, and the carbs are relatively low, and it tastes good too.
Yeah. Well, go back to the macro hoarder thing. One of the other things that I've been doing too, because again, I have trouble getting in vegetables and fruits. I usually just kind of hoard them, and I have them at one sitting. So I'll hoard all the vegetables I'm supposed to have, and try to have them in like 1 or 2 sittings. I could just make like one big bag of steamed broccoli or whatever it is, whatever vegetable I have, and I'll make one big bowl of that. And this way I know I got my vegetables in for the day. And like I said, I'll just split them either one big meal. Like today I had them in one meal. Yesterday I had them in 2. Or I'll do the same thing with my fruit. I'll just put them all together in one bowl and kind of eat them all in one sitting. But that helps me making sure I'm getting in my fruits and vegetables, because that's one of the horrible things I do all the time is getting in my vegetables. For me, that's like the worst. I have to make the thing that I found the solution to that problem, getting frozen vegetables, individual bag. It's a little more money, but it's the best way to get all my vegetables in. Otherwise, I have a hard time. Like to do fresh vegetables for me, they don't last.
Yeah, man. My issue, and the one thing I do the worst, is getting my water in. That's
I'm good with that. This thing,
I got to do that. Carry around the jug.
Yeah, I'm the douchebag that carries around the jug, but it's just easier for me.
Yeah, I mean, you know what it is? It's a constant reminder. If your jug's sitting there, you can visually see how much water you drank, and you don't have to think about it. Half a gallon in, whatever it is. You just look at your gallon. It's with you all day. So that's definitely I guess that's a water hack. If we do
so what do you want to do a broadcast on the water hacks?
Yeah, we're gonna do another water hacks. We'll talk about how to get it in. The key is you got to have it in the gallon.
Wait, we're gonna talk about how to get it in.
Yeah, man. We always talk about how to get it in.
How to get it in hacks?
Yeah, let's do that, man. We'll do it. We'll do an episode just on how to get it in.
Well, actually, it's pretty late right now in New York. It's 10:30. It's pretty late, as you can tell my age right now. But it's getting late. So this is becoming the after hours, the XXX after hours.
That is
how to get it in. So Rebecca says, but do you really recommend girls carry around a jug? Why not? You guys have 2 jugs on top. Why not carry another one around?
That's true. You're already carrying jugs. Throw another one and you'll be fine.
Yeah, well, I don't see why not. I mean, I guess it depends how, what you do for a living. Obviously, if you're doing something, and you can't carry around the jug, that's annoying. But for me, I'm a trainer. I carry my jug around. I used to leave it on my desk when I worked at a gym too. So
what you could do too is you could buy a half-gallon jug, and then you could just fill it up twice. Yeah. But try to hit the half-gallon. A half-gallon jug is not that big to carry. A gallon is a big jug, but a half-gallon jug is not that big. So if you fill up half a gallon before you leave, and aim to hit it by midday, and then just refill it, that'll make it a lot easier too. So you can gauge it that way. That's probably what I would recommend. Get a half-gallon jug. It's funny, when I worked with physical therapists, I worked at a physical therapy office. So I kind of learned so much about how the body works. But when I worked there, we used to have a water cooler and cups, and the cups were 8 ounces. So I literally would keep one cup for the whole day, and every time I would drink one, I would just mark it with a marker on the cup how many I would drink. So I'd make sure I would drink, however many cups I needed to get there. I used to do that every day. I've done that before too. I think it's easier to fall off doing that if you're not constantly thinking about it. Like I said, if the gallon's in front of you, you can see it. And we just lost Instagram Live. We're back, guys. But yeah, if you could see it right in front of you, you don't have to think about it. That usually makes it a lot easier for most people. Do you have any questions on Instagram, man? Do I have any questions on here? Yeah. People are asking us if we're going to be at the fundraiser hosted by Mark Lobliner. He's doing some type of charity event. To be honest with you, I don't even know exactly when that is. Do you know when the date is for that? No idea. Couldn't tell you. All I know is the feedback that we got on the episode that we had him on. Everybody hated it. So I don't want to be associated with him. Anybody listening to this, if you guys like the Mark Lobliner episode, let us know, because the consensus is that it was not a good episode, and not because of us, but because of Mark Lobliner. Apparently, I thought some people liked him, but I guess very few people actually like him. So Mike Brill wants to know: have you guys tried the veggie and fruit smoothies to get your veggies in? I have tried it, and I don't know. I'd rather eat it separate. I've done that, but then you got to clean the blender. I don't know. Rebecca wants to know what episode that was with Mark. Do you remember? I don't know. I can look it up. I'm sure you could search. Look it up quick. It's funny. Somebody wants to know, was it the comment about the corn? I think that comment did rub a few people the wrong way, the corn comment. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go back and listen to the episode. Yeah, I don't know what number it was. I don't remember off my head. You want to pull that up quick? I'm going to try to look it up. It'll take me a minute, so I'll let you know in a second. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people don't like him for whatever. I mean, he was all right. I don't think he provided us with a lot of information in that episode. I don't think he said anything that we didn't already know, that we didn't already cover. So I don't think, as far as that end of it goes, it wasn't really an informative podcast. No, most people just said they just don't like him as a person. They don't like his personality. They didn't like his jokes. 72, Jose says. So it was episode awesome. 72. Thank you. You're better than me, man. I couldn't even pull up iTunes to get to look it up, man. Jose, this is what I deal with on a daily basis, man. You believe that? Oh, and there goes Instagram Live again. There we go. Kalina says, hey, macros are my favorite topic. Is sushi a macro? So again, we talked about this, how we fit sushi into our day earlier. Basically, get your protein in, get your vegetables in, and then save your carbs and fat for when you have the sushi in. Actually, Colleen is one of our clients, and she actually is a Jersey resident, so she met up with us, and we actually all went out for sushi, and it was a good time. So hello to Colleen, and we had a great time hanging out with you. We got to do that again, definitely. All right, where are we here? So let's go into the next hack. Borrowing macros from the next day, doing damage control. So again, this is something that a lot of people do. Oh, shit, I went over my carbs today. What do I do? What do I do? And usually the best thing that I recommend, and I don't recommend doing this constantly, sometimes it's better to just take the hit and keep moving forward. If you went over your carbs 10 grams, sometimes it's not that big of a deal. But if you went over like 50 or 100, something like that, for whatever reason, just borrow the macros from the next day. Because remember, you don't lose weight in one day. You don't gain muscle in one day. It's what happens over weeks and months and years. So all that matters is the end of the week, pretty much. So as long as if you're borrowing from the next day, that's fine. That's an easy way to kind of get that do damage control. Right. And this is something that it's going to depend on the situation, when you should use it and when you shouldn't. If you go slightly over, a lot of times it really won't make a difference. If you're bulking, it might not make a difference. If you're cutting, that's when you might want to do it more so than other times. But again, it depends how much you go overboard, and it depends what your goals are at the time, and this is also the strategy. The reason it works It's the same reason why you don't get fat from doing a refeed. You know what I mean? People don't realize how the body works. And the case is your body's burning and storing fat all the time. Doesn't matter if it's one day, a week, or whatever it is, even throughout the day. It's that net throughout the day, throughout the week that actually results in weight loss or weight gain. So let's say you're losing a pound every single week. You don't lose it evenly throughout that week. There's days where you're gaining weight. There's days where you're losing weight. There's days where you're maintaining. But at the end of the week, it's that net. So even with days where your carbs are higher, days where they're lower, at the end of the week, if it nets weight loss, you're going to lose weight. That's how it works. So, if you have days where you're eating 400 grams of carbs, and other days where you're eating 3, then another day where you're eating 5, it's that average at the end of the week. So if you have one day where you eat more than the other and you make up for it, if it averages out at the end of the week, it's fine.
I mean, I've done this before. Have you? I don't think you've ever done this. I don't think I've ever seen you do it.
Very, very, very rarely. I've done it on a couple of cases and occasions, and I don't recommend this to be a habit. This is something, like you said,
that could be a big problem.
Yes, and I don't like recommending this one because people will think, oh, okay, so it doesn't matter if I eat 300 grams of carbs today or 600. And they might say, okay, I'll just eat 600 today because I'm hungry and I feel like cheating, and I just won't eat carbs for the rest of the week. And that's not a good way to go about it, and it's not going to work the same way. The more extreme approach you take with this hack, the less it's going to work. It works better when it's a very moderate approach. So like I said, if you accidentally eat another 30, 40, 50 grams of carbs for the day and you want to pull them for the next day, that's fine. But you're going to go through big metabolic changes where you go, okay, you know what, today I'm not going to eat carbs just because I ate 600 the day before. You triple up on carbs and the next day you don't eat anything, or the next 2-3 days you don't eat anything. Your body is not going to handle it the same way. But if you're averaging a certain amount of carbs or calories, you go up a little bit one day, then you try to fix it by going a little lower the next day. That's okay because at the end of the week, you're going to net the same thing. But don't make it a habit. This is damage control. This is like literally if you make a mistake, or if you just have a day where you see, all right, I want to cheat a little bit, and I'm maintaining or I'm bulking, and I want to even it out. You can even it out the next day, but don't make it a habit.
Yeah. So Mike Brill wants to know, do you guys fit alcohol into your macros on a regular basis? I think we talked about how to fit alcohol into the diet in the previous episodes. But basically what I do is I divide the calories, and I'll divide it by 4, and I'll add it to my carbs for the day. Because alcohol is a macronutrient, but it's not counted toward your goals. So the alcohol, if you even put it in your MyFitnessPal, will usually read an error kind of, because it'll give you calories toward your calorie goal, but it won't give you any carbs toward your carb goal. So you have to just take the calories and whatever kind of alcohol it is and divide it by 4 to get the carb number, so it'll balance out the day. I was thinking about running an experiment with this, actually. I was just too afraid to do this during nationals. For me personally, when I compete and I have nationals coming up, I don't fit any alcohol in. I don't have alcohol. I just avoid it, just for reasons that I don't want to be off my game even 1%. So I won't have any alcohol while I'm prepping for a meet. I was actually thinking about experimenting with fitting the alcohol in every day for this meet, just having like a glass of wine every day, just to see what would happen. But because it's nationals, I don't want to take that chance, so I'm not going to do it. But I think you can fit alcohol into your macros on a regular basis and still make progress without having to worry about it. Again, it's a personal decision that I make. I don't want any factor against me, so I don't want to stay 100% on the money. I want my recovery to be good. I'm trying to optimize everything, so I didn't do that. But I have heard stories of bodybuilders who dieted down to single digits body fat, having alcohol every day, having wine or having clear vodka or whatever every day. So it can be done. I'm pretty sure it can be done. I just chose for this time around not to, but the idea did cross my mind.
Yeah, I mean, it can be done. Again, if it's a consistent thing, like let's say you're having 1 glass of wine a day, it's all going to come down to energy balance. So whether you factor that in with your macros or not, if it's consistent and you make adjustments as needed with everything else, you're still going to progress the same way. So if you're doing, it's like we say with BCAAs and stuff like that too. If you're not counting the BCAAs towards your total protein intake for the day, but you're having the same exact amount of BCAAs daily, and when you stall and need to adjust things and you adjust your macros, you're still gonna progress because you're consistent. The key is consistency with it. So if you're not being consistent, let's say you want to occasionally drink or you want to socially drink on the weekends, that's the only time I'll ever fit it in. I don't fit in a glass of wine every day or even whenever. If I'm drinking alcohol, generally it's a social situation where I might have a few drinks, a couple beers or whatever it is. What I'll do then is, and my strategy, the way I like to do this, and I've done this even when dieting. I've actually done this at one point when I was contest prepping for the last contest I did. I'll put those in on my refeed days. And I generally like to do
really?
that. Yes. The reason I like to do that is because, like I said earlier, so when you're dieting, you have days where your calories are higher and calories are lower. It nets throughout the week. On the days that you're going higher, I rather have a little bit more of a margin for error because it's already a high calorie day. I want to be 100% perfect and strict on my low calorie days because those are the days where I'm really tracking if my macros and everything are working towards my goals. You know, you can't really gauge your weight after a high carb day because some days you might hold a little bit of water. You know, other days you just might have a little extra inflammation, whatever. You might have more food in you. There's so many factors. So if you're going to throw in a random element, you may as well do it on that day because there's already there's a few different factors. You want to keep those normal days as consistent as possible. So that's how you really know if things are working. And I've done that before with success. So generally that's what I like to do, especially if I'm dieting. Just put it in on the high calorie days. Yeah,
I usually do that actually with food too that I want to eat. So if I'm craving something, I'll just save it for the refeed day because I know on my refeed days I'm going to be up a pound or whatever it is. You know, usually that's the case. So, and eat regardless. So if you're having more carbs, generally you're going to have more salt. So you'll usually be a little bit higher in the refeed days. So might as well, I'll know that the rest of the week is fine. And then I know that I'm going to be up in those days, you know? So that's how we kind of
anytime you want to do anything different in general and experiment, do it on a high calorie day.
Yeah, definitely. Anything else you want to add about alcohol, man? Do you want to talk about the time you got wrecked in Ohio?
I think we told this story a few times, right? But that was
the video. Now I can play the video. People can see it.
You can. Have you not played that already? I'm sure you have. I don't know, man.
No, I didn't actually.
Don't resurrect things from 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago, man. You believe that?
Oh, it was.
Dude, we started the podcast. Yeah. We had the podcast at that point.
Yep.
Damn, that was 2 years ago.
Well, it's a year and a half ago now, but it'll be 2 years pretty soon.
I know. We're still thinking about doing the booth at the Arnold Classic. I have to inquire about it, but I think it would be a good move for us. I'd be excited to do it and just meet everyone again like we did last year. Last year we were walking around, so it's so hard for someone to come. But I think if we did a booth, man, it'd be really, really cool. I think we should do it.
Yeah, I would like to do that if we get a booth too. It'll keep it a little more structured for the weekend because we're generally, like you said, all over the place too, and people are always looking for us at different places, different times. So if we just set up location at the booth, I think it'll be a cool place too. And we get everybody. We'll have a bunch of cool stuff going on. We're not just going to do it like these regular people do it. You know, the regular booths. We're here. You guys want free samples? Take the free samples. We got to have a lot of cool stuff going on. That's going to be a requirement.
Yeah. So Rebecca says, yes, a booth, but I heard they cost a fortune. Probably. I got to look into it. We looked it up. It wasn't that horrible.
Depending on what type of setup you want to get. Yeah, depending.
Cole says, on day 4 of the 12-week arm experiment workout. How's that working out for you, bud? You start measuring your arms yet? I love that arm program, man. I really do. That program worked. And I haven't been focusing on my arms right now, but I still think I'm maintaining. I haven't measured them in a while, but I'm still definitely maintaining.
See, that's the great thing about arms, too. Once you grow them, it's so easy to maintain them because if you're focusing on anything else, you're getting so much indirect work to your arms as well. So it's very hard for you to lose any size for your arms, provided you're doing everything else. You know, it's not like legs. You stop training legs, you're not going to maintain them, you know? But you could theoretically even just take arm training off completely if you're doing tons and tons of pressing, pulling, everything like that, and you probably will maintain your arm size. But even if you just throw a little bit extra in, I've done so many phases where I've backed off of arm training. I've never lost size or strength or anything like that.
You mean doing pull-ups is not enough?
No, I wouldn't say just doing pull-ups. Those guys that promote, you know, you just got to do chins and bench press. And your arms get huge. You know, it's not going to grow them, but they're going to get stimulation, and they're probably not going to atrophy. I'll put it that way. But no, you guys gotta train those arms heavy frequently if you want them to grow.
So Matt says a 10x10 booth would be nice. You guys would kill it. We killed it this weekend, man. I thought we had a really good turnout this weekend. So it's definitely in the works there. We gotta look that up. Gains, as Cole says. All right, man. Let's move on to the last one. And again, you wrote the show notes for today, so you have here creating a deficit and a large refeed.
Yes. So this is definitely the most advanced strategy or hack out of all of them, and this can be done.
I like that word, hack.
Yeah, it is a hack, man. People relate to the word hack. I don't know. They're drawn to that word hack because it makes it sound like it's something that nobody else knows about. We're going to teach you how to hack the system. But this is a strategy that can be done in a day or you can do this over a course of a week. So depending on what you're doing, it might be a good idea or it might not. It all depends on what you're doing. I keep saying this, but it really does depend if it's a good strategy or not. So for some people, it might be great. For others, it's not. But so let's start with the easier scenario. So if let's say you're going to have a day where okay, I'm going to be out this whole day and I might not want to even track so strictly, and I want to track a little looser. Or it's a day where you want to just be a little more normal and eat a little more intuitively, right? You're going to go over and you want to go over. You can create a little bit more of a buffer even in a 2-day strategy. So what you can do is you can plan by cutting your calories one day. Let's say you eat 300 grams of carbs, right? One day you might eat 100, only 100. You'll save 200 in the tank. You'll save that many in the tank. The next day, you can kind of roll over the other 200 that you don't eat for the next day because okay, today I want to have a big day. Now, technically, in a strategy where you were doing this consistently, it would just be considered a refeed day. But maybe you're not using those or anything similar to that. Maybe you're maintaining. Maybe you don't have refeed days or whatever it is. But you could take those calories, purposely save them. Just that whole day, go low on calories so that the next day you can refeed or you can fill in those calories that you missed. And again, it's going to net throughout the week. And you have to know how to do this properly because a lot of times what people do is they'll cut calories for one day, then the next day they'll just go overboard. It's not about going overboard. It's about hitting your macros. But if you want to be loose and track them, but if you want to be loose in your structure and one day eat less and the other day eat more, you're going to be okay because it's going to balance out. And again, you can do this over a longer period of time too. You can make 1 week a bit less. We lost Instagram again, guys. You can make 1 week a lower calorie week. And generally, if you're going to do a whole week like this, the cut will be much less. You're not going to cut 200 grams of carbs every single day. But let's say you pull 20 grams of carbs out from each day of the week. That's going to add up to however many throughout the week that you could add in the next week on one day or whatever it is. Again, this is a very advanced strategy, and there's so many different ways you could do it. But just know that, again, it balances out throughout the week. And if you want to create a buffer by not eating as much one day or a couple of days, you can save those up for another day.
Well, one of the real intermittent fasting actually is taking 1 day off of eating, period.
Right. Yeah.
That's like, hours. Yeah. So it's like the same thing. You could just, so if I'm dieting and I'm having 2,500 calories a day to lose weight, if I just took that last day, 2,500 calories and added it to every other day, I would still be in a deficit because that day's not there,
Exactly. And that's why all these things work. It's not the magic trick of not eating that one day or fasting for 24 hours. That doesn't create the fat loss. The fat loss is the caloric deficit. So it still has to balance out to how many calories are coming in and how many are going out. So you can fast for 24 hours and not lose any weight because let's say you burned 3,000 calories in a day. You ate 9,000 calories in one day and the next day you fasted or whatever it is.
You probably feel like shit if you ate 9,000 calories. It's a horrible example.
Yeah, but I'm saying you can't make up for it. It's not like the fat loss doesn't happen from the fasting. The fat loss happens from the average throughout the week. That's where it comes into play. So if you balance that out, it doesn't matter how you do it. There's better ways to do it than others. It doesn't mean that they're all equal, but it comes from that balance.
You think you'd be able to fast for 24 hours?
I've never tried it before. I have no desire to do it. I mean, I even have trouble doing 8 hours fasting or 16-hour fasting, whatever the protocol is for the intermittent fasting protocol. I would have trouble even doing that. I mean, I'm sure I could do it, but do I have any desire to? No.
It's funny because I could fast for a pretty long time. Like I stopped eating today and just by habit because it makes it so I knew I had to record today. So I'm like, I'm just going to eat all my calories before I go back to work tonight. So I stopped eating at like 5 o'clock today. So it's over 5 hours now. And I'm not going to eat again until tomorrow, probably around this time too. So What is that? 12 hours and 5, so 17 hours. It's a long time. It's almost 24 hours actually. Holy shit. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. And, most people don't realize, when they talk about intermittent fasting, they don't realize that they're already doing a bit of a modified intermittent fasting schedule. With sleep, if you don't eat directly before bed and you don't eat directly when you wake up in the morning, your eating window is spaced out a decent amount from that time. Me, I'm one of those people that do eat pretty close to bed and pretty early in the morning when I wake up. But that's just the way I like to do it. And again, it works. So it works as long as you balance out those calories for the week.
My dog is going nuts. For those of you on Facebook, I have her here. She's barking at me. Right? Where are you? She likes to sit next to me while I'm on the podcast.
She likes all the attention, man.
She does. So Rebecca says, one time we ate everything we wanted in one day and fasted the next day for the entire day. Both days were miserable.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. A lot of these approaches are not sustainable. They're not ideal. So, like I said, if you're going to go with some of these approaches, the less extreme ones are the better ones. You know, they work better when they're less extreme.
Yeah, because I could see the fasting for the whole day. Like I said, I could probably fast, for a good amount of the day. But, come nighttime, it's like, all right, enough of this.
Right.
I can't believe I'm fasting for 17 hours already, man. That's crazy. I'm going to be fasting for. I didn't even realize that. I do that almost, not daily, because sometimes I do eat after work. But it just depends. It's, you know what it is? I hate making a mess again and having to clean it. That's the problem too. I'm just gonna start eating out of paper dishes and paper plates and plastic food spoons.
I hear you on the mess.
The cleaning is the worst.
Yeah, that's my least favorite part. I don't even mind cooking.
I like the cooking too. It's the
plates.
You know what the worst thing to clean is? The pots and the pans. That's the worst. And I have a barbecue, and I can go out and barbecue my food, and that would be good because it's easy clean up and whatever. But still, you gotta the chicken's dirty. You can't let it touch anything, and you gotta wash this fork because it touched this, and it's just too much work. So,
hey, listen, just get to the level where you have your own personal chef. Let them handle the whole thing, and it'll be cooking goals, life goals.
Yeah, you want to cook food for me, man?
Yeah, man, if the price is right, man.
I pay you.
I can
bought.
Just
hold your check back.
I can be
make
bought.
My food for the week, and I can pay.
So, you pay me the right amount. I can be bought.
And anything?
Well, it depends on the price, right?
And on that note, and the podcast in the toilet. All right, guys. Well, that was today's episode. Macro hacks. So how to hit those macros every time. Again, if you guys enjoyed this episode, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. That's the most important thing, no matter what podcast feed you're on. Jose says, or go vegan. Yeah, man. Would you go vegan for money?
Yeah, if the price is right, but it would be very, very high. I got to say that.
Really? If I told you, Pete, listen, I'm going to give you an extra $500 every week, but I want you to be vegan.
I'd have to think about that one, man. The quality of my life would suffer drastically.
Yeah, you just go down. You drop to 160.
$500 a week would not. No, that would not work.
Really, to go vegan?
No. Would you do it for $500 a week?
Yeah, in a heartbeat, man.
Would you really?
Yeah, that's not. So you want to test me?
You'd lose all your gains. You'd be weak.
I wouldn't do it now. It would definitely have to cost a lot.
I wouldn't do it. Don't lie.
I would do it. Totally. You want to give me the $500? Watch me do it.
I don't even care if you do it enough to give you the $500. I just know you wouldn't do it.
I would. I totally would. When I was in school for nutrition, the teacher wanted us to go vegan for a week. And she's like, just to try it, just to see.
Uh-huh.
And it didn't last 5 minutes. As soon as I walked out of the class, I had back.
All right, you say you would do it, but you probably couldn't even last. You'd be the guy saying he's vegan, and then you go in like the overweight people. They have the snack drawer like in the Nutty. Where you grab your Snickers.
You ever seen the movie Heavyweights?
Oh yeah.
And they pulled the big thing out of the bed.
Yeah, I love that movie, man.
That was a great movie. Get on the scale, son.
Get off the scale.
Yeah. That was a great movie. All right, guys. Well, again, subscribe to the podcast as it definitely helps our podcast grow. And make sure that you head on over to NewYorkMuscleRadio.com/getjacked for your free 12-week program. Again, it's a program that's going to help. It's a smart, progressive program. It's absolutely free, and it's our gift to you guys. So make sure you head on over there. But, all right, big man, your turn.
All right, guys. Pete and Anthony, New York Muscle Radio, and we're out.
Let's see if this thing ends. I think it froze. It froze. I can't end it. We're going to be on all night.
We're still here, guys, but it's not ending.
All right, here we go.